Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back to the Hero Whispers podcast. Here with your host, Jeannie Marie, Chief Supergirl of Supergirls.com. That's 2 L's, a second L for love. Today, I have a fabulous girlfriend on the line. She is our guest, Miss Susan Gans. But before I introduce her and her fabulousness, I want to just give you guys a 411 in case this is your first time tuning into this podcast of ours. And what we do at Supergirls, we are in the business of inspiration. We inspire and empower college women to launch from college to life. We use our podcast, The Hero Whispers, to bring in amazing women that can help really fire up our college women and help them, and also the college women themselves, to hear about their lives and their journeys and how we can help make the world a better place for them, better than it was for us. Queens helping queens. So that being said, I'm glad you guys are here, no matter how you got here. And I am so honored to have our guest today, Miss Susan Gans. She and I went to the Wharton School together and graduated. I'm not even going to tell you the year because it was a long time ago. Susan Gans is a business strategist with Gans Strategic Solutions. She applies her business background and understanding of human behavior in her approach to her strategic and change management work. She is a sought-after speaker on leadership, business strategy, and financial literacy topics, and has been quoted in several well-known publications. Susan is host of the web show REST, Resiliency and Empowerment Seminar Today, where she highlights the journeys of leaders of businesses and nonprofits. Due to her core value of giving back, she is also involved in several professional and community organizations regionally and globally. Susan holds a BS in clinical psychology from Tufts University and has her MBA in finance and strategic management from the Wharton School. Welcome to the show, Susan.
Thank you so much, Jeannie, for that very warm welcome. I'm so excited to be here, and I love the words inspire and empower, so you're talking my language.
I know you do so much of that in your community. I want to start with your new launch of your web series. That is so cool. And I would, first of all, congrats on that. And how did you get there? Yeah, how did you make that happen? It's so cool.
So in terms of the web show itself, it was really around thinking about how I could give back during this particular pandemic and these challenging times. And I thought about, well, who is going to need some extra support during this time in addition to our first responders? And that's going to be small business owners and nonprofits. So I decided to do something outside of my comfort zone and launch this web show. I figured if the talk show hosts and television newscasters can broadcast using Zoom and their computers, I could do the same. And that's how I do it. And it's been a lot of fun learning about people's journeys and giving them the opportunity to highlight their organizations and give back in that way. And I found that other people are inspired by these leaders' journeys. So it's just been an honor to do that.
Yeah, I mean, way to go, right? I agree. How can we give back? I mean, I'm not a doctor either, or in healthcare or whatever, a cop. So I agree. How can we, all of us can find a way to, in our niche, to give back somehow. And so I love that you did that. I love that you have this benevolent side to you that's always thinking about giving. That's how you always have been. So that's so cool. But I want to know, what is it about the whole thing that's out of your comfort zone? Because you're in the spotlight a lot. So why is this out of your comfort zone? I would think it would be like right up your alley.
So what's outside of my comfort zone is the sense that of actually saying this idea in my head that, okay, I'm going to do this web show, and I'm like doing it. As if you asked me 12 weeks ago whether or not I'd be doing a web show, I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? And so it just dawned on me that this would be something that I could do easily, and provide this bigger platform. So that was the part that was out of the comfort zone. It's something I never did before, and came up with the format and with the questions, and sort of channeled my inner talk show person.
Yeah, it's awesome, right? I know. I wanted to be a talk show host my whole life. That's been my dream job forever. So doing a podcast is like, really? I could be my own talk show host? Oh, let's do it. Let's bring it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I know you talked a little bit about personal risks, and risks you've taken in your lifetime, and I guess this would be one of them, right?
Yes, this is one of them. Another one is launching my own business that I did at the beginning of the year, to really combine all of the different experiences that I've had in the corporate world, from the finance to the technology to the consulting, and blend that with the human behavior side of my schooling, and also just in experiences in dealing with people and doing change management, and make an impact in that way with businesses. And now businesses are going to need to figure out, how are they going to forge their futures? And there's a lot of unknowns, a lot of uncertainty. And by having somebody to talk to and go through a process, and to figure out, okay, what is it that they can do, and how can they be successful going forward? And it's going to likely look different than what it was pre the pandemic. So I'm looking forward to being a hero of sorts to those executives.
What kind of clients do you have right now?
So right now, my client base is around businesses who are thinking about different things. Pre-pandemic, it was about, growing aspects of their business that were kind of stalled, or helping somebody to launch a business, and how to get their word out and market themselves. Some other work has been about engaging employees. So now engagement of employees means some different things, and it doesn't mean about in-person events so much as it means about how can you develop connections virtually.
So, I mean, it's so cool because you're doing so many different things, which you must love. I mean, that must be a charge in itself. Like, every client is like a different challenge, right?
Yes, I'm somebody who has a strong need for variety, so that lives up to that.
For sure. I'm just curious I think a consulting or an agency like this, a consultancy, is a really, really hard thing to do. And engaging clients, keeping a pipeline. And I know you as a person are very resilient and also steadfast, and I'm sure you have an approach. But I'm just curious how you get your clients. Like, is there a secret sauce, or are all of them different? How they come about?
There are several sources. I mean, part of it through speaking engagements that I've had. So doing some educating and making people think and get curious, and then having follow-up conversations from there. But a lot of it really is through relationships that I've built up over the course of time. So being involved in one of my local chambers of commerce here on Long Island has been very fruitful in terms of introducing me to other people and other opportunities. Our Wharton network has been very helpful. So getting involved in the community and in the alumni spaces, let's say, is something that I talk to people about, in terms of when they ask me, how do you get opportunities. It's really about building relationships, and those relationships over time, and not being transactional. So where people get to know you and experience you.
Yeah, that is something that's definitely just underrated. People don't understand the value of that. Like, they think a lot of people think networking is you're going to talk to somebody one time and something's going to happen. No.
No.
Rarely. I mean, rarely does that go down like that. So it definitely takes. It's like tending a garden, right? I mean, I have a black thumb, but I use that as an example. I don't know why I picked that as an example, but that is it's a lot of work. So you basically did all that work. Let's talk about that for a minute. You have had several different, like, adaptations of your career. You've done different things and changed different way and adapted to different times of your life. I want to hear. I think we could share with the listeners of how you've done that, because to me that's super helpful. And when people are thinking about change or relaunching or whatever, launching from college, to know that, like, okay, this doesn't have to be. This is not going to be like this forever. Like, things can change and evolve. And I think you have a great roadmap of how you've done it.
That's a great question. And I think for your listeners to know, something I didn't know early in my career is that your career isn't always planned, and your career isn't always a step ladder, meaning you go from, let's say, analyst to associate to VP or whatever it is, from title to title. That's often not the case. You have sort of what I call the winding road path, is another alternative. And I break up my career into sort of 3 phases. So the first part of my career was the planned stage, which it means I went to college, had a psychology undergrad degree. While in school, I had an internship in the psychology field because I thought I was going to go PhD all the way. And then I decided, just some things I learned through the internship, that I wanted to apply my people and analytical skills to a business setting, and set out to go for my first job being to really learn about business. So I wanted to get trained. I want to get exposure to different companies and different types of problems. So I went into commercial lending at the time for Chemical Bank, now JP Morgan Chase, where I went through a credit analyst training program. And they were very open to liberal arts majors. So I got my business grounding there. And from there, I knew at some point I wanted to go to business school. And so I was preparing for that. But through working as a banker, I realized that I really wanted to have a broader set of conversations with clients than just the financing needs. And I felt that having an MBA exposing me to strategy and marketing and operations, so the whole gamut, would be the best way to go to pivot. And that's when I went to Wharton. And while I was at Wharton, because I was looking at consulting, I decided to go after working at the Small Business Development Center, because I was always fascinated with entrepreneurs. Like Steve Jobs was somebody that I looked up to in high school and college, and in terms of just his creativity and what he could do. So I decided to get my feet wet with the Small Business Development Center, and then after graduation went to work for Ernst & Young doing consulting focused on strategy and corporate finance. And so that was the planned phase. But then as I was in consulting, I had this